development and operation, so everyone pronounces it how they want, to be honest. So DevOps, DevOps, it doesn't matter.
DevOps.
DevOps.
DevOps, yeah, probably. And can you hear him well, by the way?
Test? No?
Yeah. Sorry, continue. So, Zhenya, you title your performance The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, and it looks like you're going to tell us about all the hardships of a system administrator, of a DevOps.
Somewhat close. Initially, I wanted to say whine a little about being a DevOps engineer, but later I decided just to share my thoughts. And the title, I just like it. It doesn't have anything in common with the movie with the same title, so just a shiny name. That's all.
Good.
So, shall I continue or?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So, this presentation named, as you can see, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and I want to speak about being a DevOps engineer. So, sorry, wrong button. I broke something. Yeah. Before I start, I have a question to the audience. Is there anyone who can call themselves a DevOps engineer? Just curious, no? Anyone?
You know, it's a very rare species, I can tell you.
Still, it's very rare, and I will be talking later about consequences. At least previously you mentioned overprice. I'm quoting assholes, as you said.
Yeah,
so
you know, that's why my company is still looking for a moderately priced DevOps. I'm not sure we can pay that much money as you want.
no, they doesn't exist.
I saw one DevOps on TV once.
Like a dinosaur, but new version of it. So, little about me. I have around 15 years of experience working with Linux. I was a system administrator, a developer. I'm sorry about. Also, I spent some time in training center. I was teaching people about how to administrate Linux, etc., etc. But at present time, I probably should call myself a DevOps engineer because it's what it is. So, also I am CEO of OSHelp team. We are a team of site reliability engineering and DevOps engineers. So we just support things, and that's why I can share my experience about it. So,
Zhenya, sorry, I have to ask you, that abbreviation of yours, SRE, why is it so sexy for everyone? I mean, when people say it, it sounds like magic for many people. What is so special about it?
There is nothing special about it, but one can say you can blame Google for it, because if I'm not mistaken, Google was the one who invented this abbreviation. So it's just the new shiny name for a subspecies of DevOps engineers. So before that, there was an operations. I mean, old plain system administrators. But then came DevOps, and Google, by some unknown reason, decided to give a new shiny name for it. So it's at least it's my opinion on this matter.
Okay, so continue.
Okay. So my speech is divided into 3 sections, same as title, and the good being DevOps, the bad, and the ugly story from my experience. So main points are shown on this slide, and I will add some personal commentaries and personal opinions. So, what is like to be a DevOps engineer from day to day? First and most important thing, at least for me, in my opinion, it's a lot of new and shiny toys, and you will be able to play with them. I mean, you're literally facing something new almost every day. A new version, new software, new release, new feature. For me, it's kind of exciting just to play with new toys. It remembers me being a child. Not sure that it's similar but someone else, but nonetheless. So, because of the first point about plenty of shiny toys, We have the second point about learning new things almost every day. Because, okay, you have new software, you need to deploy it, but before you will do it, you need at least to understand how to use it, how to deploy it, how to monitor it, etc., etc. So the second point, it's about learning. And again, for me, it's a very exciting thing because you are learning something new almost every day. So, moving to the next point, it's also the consequences of the first two, using those shiny toys and using those this knowledge that you received, got, you will be building some new systems. It could be a deployment process, it could be a new infrastructure, or you will be improving existing one. This point is also personal for me, but in general, I think all of you will agree that we all want to be appreciated. We want to be useful, and this is a great opportunity to feel yourself appreciated. Because when you did your job well, someone will use the result of your job at every day and maybe even enjoy it a little.
You know, I have a very weird question to you. You know, as far as I know, a system administrator or a guy like you becomes really appreciated by his colleagues when some shit happens, actually.
I will be talking about this in that section. It's kind of addiction. There is a huge difference between classic system administration and if everything works, then you don't need your administrator, yes? But in DevOps, you're usually tasked with automatization, deployment, etc., etc. So you are on a daily basis building something new. So there is much more work to do except recovering from the broken state, etc., etc. So I told you about first 3 points, and back to overpriced assholes. So the last point on this slide, it's about salary. As some of you maybe noticed already, DevOps engineers are quite rare species, and because of that, they are highly overpriced. At least in comparison with classic. Sorry, it's died. No? Okay. No.
Just touch it.
I did it already? Oh. Okay, so they are overpriced, and in comparison with classical system administrators, we are talking about at least 50% of increase, or in some cases even maybe 100 plus. So it's quite a tasty addition to your job title. That's probably all about good points in being a DevOps engineer. Question?
Yeah. How much mention of the Kubernetes will add to your salary?
It depends on the company, but it's quite a difficult topic. Not all companies need Kubernetes in reality, and not all of DevOps engineers are really had an opportunity to get required experience, because Kubernetes it's somewhat new thing and it's constantly evolving. So your knowledge that dated, for example, a year ago, probably partially or fully outdated. So it's I'm sorry that I'm going ahead of myself, but it's in some kind mentioned in the next section in the bad things. But if you are really interested, you can search for a group named DevOps Jobs or something in Telegram, and you will have plenty of answers how much these guys are really estimated right now. So going to the sorry, I didn't use okay, bad side. So most of the points on this slide are closely linked to the points from the previous slide, because there are two sides of the same coin. So for someone, learning something new, it's exciting, and for someone, it's quite at all. So you will get boring. But back to the first point. As the name of the job said, it's development and operations in one position. So it's literally two professions in one. And because of that, you will have to spend your time between both area of knowledge. And a little joke from the past. Have you heard about the joke, probably from Peekaboo, about, I quote, working in our bank is a great honor? Anyone? No? It was a hilarious joke. It was a job offer, and the main part of the joke was about content of this job offer. So this bank was in search of the person who was system administrator, hardware engineer, the developer, and some other positions like database administrator, etc., etc. At this point of time, this offer, many people reacted laughing. There was many cynic jokes about that, but here we are. Maybe 10 years later, we have almost the same in one position. So every DevOps engineer should combine two areas of knowledge, being a developer and being a system administrator, or ops as they call it. So this requires plenty of time. And the next point is again consequences of the first one. You will have to learn every day, non-stop, without break, without end. And for some people, for example, like me, it's very exciting. But when you don't have a control on this process, it could be quite demotivating, because it will take quite a toll on you finally. So the situation from the past. Probably you heard about the game which named Throw the Ball Over the Wall. Mm-hmm. It's the main reason why DevOps was invented or created. Anyone? No? No?
You mean they catch the ball? You mean?
No. It's a long-standing game between development and operations, and it usually goes like this. Okay, guys from development created something. They are now ready to proceed, and they are throwing the ball to the ops guys. So the ball is on your side, it's your problem right now. Okay, operation guys are trying to deploy it, it doesn't work or not well enough documented, and ops guys, what they should do? They will throw the ball backwards and say, no guys from developments, it's your problem right now, you should fix the documentation. And this process goes on while the business is paying both sides and the product is still far away from the market. So business was suffering, yes?
That's no problem. I do commit nothing. That's your problem then. Sorry.
Yes, as usual.
I would say in my previous jobs in Sbertech, it was a favorite game.
It was a long-standing game, probably since the developers and operations from the start.
You know, in banking it is called throw the monkey.
Monkey. Okay, we are talking about throwing the ball. So, as it says on the screen, when you are a DevOps engineer, you don't have such luxury, because you're basically on both sides of the wall. So all of it, it's your problem right now. If it doesn't work, you have to find how to make it work, even if you have write a patch, etc., etc., etc. So with the opportunities also comes responsibility. And the last one, also about responsibilities. Yes, there are big companies who are in search of DevOps engineers, but right now we are talking about small teams or small companies. And usually in small teams, the DevOps engineer are tasked with building critical system, infrastructure, application platforms, and those things should work 24/7, and hence you will have responsibility on your hands to support this system 24/7, even if you're asleep or sick, etc., etc. One could say that part of this problem could be mitigated by creating stable architecture, by horizontal scaling, etc., etc. But the main problem, it isn't solutions. The main problem is humans, because people will make mistakes. It isn't the matter of yes or no. It is matter of time when you will make a mistake. And it could be a mistake made by someone else, it could be your mistake, so eventually the system that you build will be broken, and you will have to get out of the bed and fix it. So I think that's all about the bad side. I can continue, yes?
Yes, sure.
Maybe you have some questions. How to do it? Why it changed 2 slides? Sorry.
Left, right. Left, right.
No, I did something wrong. I don't use Max plenty.
On the keyboard, left and right.
Okay.
Forward.
Okay, sorry. I prefer Linux, not POSIX. In the end of my speech, I would like to share with you a real example of those maybe bad things that I described. Somewhere around 8 years ago, I worked for a Europe company. It was a small startup. They were creating solution in advertisement section, etc., etc., and they needed just to deploy their software. And because of the time, there was no Kubernetes at the time, and there was no even Docker Swarm. So it was the old plain way with the clutches, or you build it as you could. So I got an assignment, and I was asked to launch the system named Cloud Foundry. Probably, if I'm not mistaken, it's created by a company named Pivotal, and now it belongs to IBM or something else. I was curious and I even looked it up. Right now, this thing works on top of Kubernetes, but when it was created, it was like a dinosaur in comparison with Kubernetes of our time. So, back to task. So, my employer said, you need to launch it. Okay, I said, no problem, I will try to do it. I spent some time reading the documentation, as usual, and I didn't see anything scary, as it's usually. I have to say, it isn't a happy end story, so minor spoiler. Okay, I tried to deploy it, but without any success. Almost every step, or almost every of my attempts ended with a fail. Nothing was working at all. So I got my suspect that the documentation might be a little outdated, and I even contacted the core developers, and they said, yeah, we didn't update documentation around half a year or so. Okay, this task just got much more harder. And I had to move to the standard way to look into sources. So this system was written in Ruby, and at the moment I didn't have any skills in Ruby. Okay, I got basic intro. After 2 or maybe 3 hours, I was able to read the code. Okay, I spent some time reading, just trying to understand how this, sheet is even working under the hood. But there was another problem. By some unknown reason, the developers decided to rewrite the system in Go. Maybe because it was popular at this time. So I got back to learning another language that I didn't know at the time. I spent some time getting the basics of Go language, and after that I was able to return to reading the sources. So by my estimation I spent around 2 weeks just trying to understand how the heck to learn this system. I finally launched this. It's even worse, and I decided to show the results of my work to my employer. They said, okay, great. Can you write a step-by-step guide for us that we can reproduce this at our place, at our system? I said, no problem, sure, I will write it for you. I spent around a day or two writing, checking, rechecking, and I brought this guide again, and I said, okay, it's ready, you can use it. I got the answer, cool, it's very detailed, but there is one minor problem. You deployed it in US region of Amazon, and we need to deploy it in Europe region, we need in Ireland. I said, there is no problem, I probably will fix it within a day. But I was hugely mistaken, and I will explain why. I tried to use my own step-by-step guide just to launch it in separate region, and it feels like I was in the start, because nothing was working. I got errors in every step. I got curious again, and I again wrote to developers and asked them, guys, what's the problem? Where is, maybe I'm missing something. And they said, we are sorry, but we never tried to deploy it outside of US region because we just don't need it, and it's up to you how to solve it.
Sorry, and did it have anything to do with the software on the server? I mean, it's not just about geography, right?
No. It's much harder on that. The first problem that I dug up was about basic images of virtual servers. There were no images in Europe region, so I just have to build them or copy from US region to Ireland. But it again didn't help, because I dig deeper and I found that in many places of code US region just hard-coded inside of logic. So I had to write some patches that just to get this system working. But we are getting closer to the main twist of this story. After I spent probably a month or month and a half, I finally started the system in the required region, in Ireland. And I contacted again my employer and said, okay guys, finally I made what you asked me. And the answer was hilarious. They said, thank you very much, but we should probably postpone this system and we maybe never use it again. So that's the reality of my experience or of starting this system. So it's like this, but I'm not here to whine, and you can see why. There are plenty of jobs with much harder consequences.
You know, at least now we know why DevOps are overpaid. I mean, you are probably paid for that much pain in the ass.
You are paid just for suffering.
But anyway, actually, you know, you were probably paid for the learning process. But I'm not sure you'll be able to use it again somewhere, but anyway.
My main question at the time was, why the heck company decided to pay me for the month or month and a half, and they didn't even use what I did. Maybe it was some kind of management mistake, but it was just old plain waste of their own money. So something like this.
Okay. Anything else?
No,
well,
I guess it's only this again. So no, it doesn't work. If anyone interested, my contacts on the screen. It's the end of my story.
Thank you. So, any questions?
I have a question. So, as an experienced DevOps specialist, what do you think about serverless concept, which nowadays is becoming much more popular?
Sorry, which concept?
serverless applications. It's hard to answer with anything except the right tool for the job. It depends on your requirements, because I don't know how to correctly translate it in English, but in Russian it sounds фломастеры на вкус разные. So it's up to you to decide what tool to use in your own situation. You maybe just be able to stop and not waste a month like I did.
Yeah, but I mean that aren't you scared that at some point it will just substitute job specialists somehow?
No, because it's constantly evolved. DevOps engineers should be scared of getting out of knowledge, getting out the day, because it's constantly changing. So it's not about getting rid of, it's about spending your time just to get afloat.
Alisa, your question?
What is your favorite anime series?
DevOps and...
Probably something about some monster, because he fights with monsters all the time, right?
No, it's like in very old job from Bash or...
Yes.
It's good, I forgot about this. I don't know, so I should really answer about anime?
You can answer, why not?
We can discuss in private this matter.
No.
Not to scare the audience.
Say this
Don't be shy.
loudly right now.
Yeah, you can say.
There is a problem. I can't answer to this because, to be honest, I don't have one. I have a hobby of mine. I'm trying to learn Japanese, and I'm watching plenty of anime just to have listening practice. I'm sorry. So it's hard to me to say that I love one more than another. I can say a few names, but it's really.
Sorry, and what is... So how can I say I hate you all in Japanese? Maybe it can be used in my way.
Right now, I'm on very basic level. I'm listening. I'm forming my own vocabulary. I can't speak yet,
I see.
because it's much more harder than English.
Yeah, I can imagine. Any questions? Martin?
One question consists of two small questions. First is what's the main source of developers? Are they came usually from developers or from system administrators, from your personal experience? Or they in the past?
It's hard to answer because it depends on personal history. I don't know the reason why people are so attracted, maybe about the sellers again, but the people came from both sides equally, so I don't have any statistic. For example, in our team, there are more people with the ops background and not so much from development.
And the second part of the question is, in your opinion, personal opinion, what is the best way to become a DevOps for the career? To become a developer and then promote yourself to DevOps engineer, or through the system administration? Or maybe how another better way to start career of DevOps from the level?
And yet again, it depends on the position, because as I saw in some companies, you're mostly tasked with building system, and only part of time you are spending on writing the code. Usually you're writing something to automatization, etc., etc. So, but there are definitely positions when guys from DevOps are spending more time writing and less on deploying or ops task. So it depends on specific of exact company.
Sasha, your question.
Okay, I think that's right time for uncomfortable questions. So excuse me.
Not again. I know where you live.
Business usually like to ask questions like, who will pay for our downtime? And DevOps, it's quite right sphere to ask that question. How do you usually answer for that, or avoid those questions?
It's all about hardware.
Who will pay? in today's reality, the DevOps engineers have quite an excuse. It's named blameless, etc., etc. So, at least in big companies, there are some processes related to quality control, and where they are trying to find the source of their mistake. But as far as you know, it's quite popular not to blame people. Should be more motivating to improve yourself. But I have my personal doubts about this, because it's hard to combine with, how to say it, Slavic personalities. Because our people often act wrong in this situation. They just abuse this role. So, yet again, I can't answer who will pay it. It depends on if the DevOps engineer in the team which belongs to the company, of if it outsourcing or outstaffing, etc., etc. So it should be written on your contract. But when the position require you to answer for downtime, probably your salary should be much higher up, just to feel the risk that you are accepting on yourself. So,
Okay, thank you.
And Zhenya, I have a question, and by the way, it's about the way you are hired. I mean, would you prefer to be a full-time employee or a part-time, or when you are outsourced? I'll explain to you why I'm asking. I had an experience of working with well, I'm not sure we can call him DevOps, but he was kind of a system administrator, and he worked for several companies, and he charged, well, a moderate amount of money each company, but ultimately he was quite often totally unavailable when we needed him. So what is the best option for you as a specialist, and what is the best option for a company?
Okay, I will try to answer it by the sections. For me personally, I'm not open to hiring process, because I have my own small business and my team is available for hiring. So it depends on conditions which agreed between us and our clients. So it's up to basic SLA. So we should be available within some time, or we should recover the system within a limited amount, etc., etc.
I mean, the question is how diversified your attention can be. Can you work with like 3 different projects, 5 different projects? Is it okay for you? Maybe it depends on the scale of the projects.
Yes, exactly, because it's mostly depends on personal skills. There are 2 kinds of people, monotask and I don't know how to
multitasking people.
And multitasking people,
yeah.
yes. But even if you have skills and you are considering yourself multitasking, you will still have your limitations. And it's like in call center. When you have 1 incoming call, you can answer, yes? Mm-hmm. When you have 3, 5, 10, when you will just be switching between calls and don't do nothing useful for this. Okay. So it depends on the size, on complexity, or time balance, etc., etc.
Any questions? Anyone else?
I have a question. You work as, I can see, for many countries, so many clients in different regions, and there is a situation where you can support some site or location in, suppose, Sweden or in Tokyo. So this lack of time, I mean,
different time zones, you mean?
Yes, switching the zones. Is it stressful for you for supporting this?
So basically, do you have to solve some problems at 3 o'clock in the morning?
In the morning or in the night?
Yeah.
Me and my team, yes, of course, but we are trying to solve it by distributing our employees within different time regions. Mm-hmm. We have objects from with audience in US region, in Moscow region, much more or less in Asia, but nonetheless, we have responsibility 24/7. It should be working, and we don't have any excuses like we are sleeping, we are unavailable. If it's died by some reason, we have 15 minutes to brought it up.
So you have a guy on duty.
Yes, we always have few guys.
Great.
And I have a second question. As you mentioned, your life is endless study, yeah?
Yes.
So it's sometimes can be difficult to make pause this process and to spend some quality time with your family. How you make these borders?
Well, as I understood, you've got some employees who suffer for you sometimes, right?
No. It's a small business. Usually you are who is suffering, not your employees. About work-life balance, probably I found the person who is crazy as I am, and we are both workaholics, so we understand each other, and we're just trying to find minimal amount of time to spend with each other. All other time we are mostly working.
So a DevOps needs another person of the opposite
Crazy
sex.
person.
Yeah. So she can be crazy as a designer, a Python developer, whatever.
Yes,
Great.
something close to your craziness.
Good. Zhenya, thank you so much. I wish I could listen to you even longer. Thanks for your story.
And now our official handshake.
Not like this, please.
Okay.